How about you? I'm Hank. Welcome to Hamiltonville Farm. In this video, we're going to talk about gas versus diesel and hopefully helps you make a good decision on what you want to buy. So we actually chose gas for us, and I'm going to tell you why, and I'm going to go over the specs and some of the things that went into our decision making to go from a diesel to a gas truck. We opted to go with a 6.4 liter Hemi gas, the Ram 2500 heavy duty. We did switch from Ford to a Ram, but we kept a 3/4 ton series. This 2500 has the 6.4 liter Hemi. It's got 429 foot-pounds of torque. How does that differ from the Cummins engine in the diesel for the 2500? Well, that diesel in the Cummins is going to get you 850 foot-pounds of torque out of that diesel. And so, you know, if you're thinking about torque is obviously force times distance to give you a twisty motion, but for you to determine why you need that torque, what are you pulling, how often are you pulling it, those are things you're going to need to think about when you're making your decision. Should I go to diesel or should I go to gas? We'll actually talk about towing capacities and things like that later on in the video. I'll tell you what I pull, how I pull it, how often I pull it, but let's keep making our way around the truck. You're actually going to get more horsepower out of your 6.4 Hemi than you will, actually it's probably going to be true for any gas engine. You're going to get more horsepower out of your gas engine than a diesel engine. If you're considering the horsepower of the gas versus diesel, gas engines are normally going to give you more horsepower. You're going to get 410 horsepower out of this 6.4 Hemi, whereas in the Cummins on the 2500 you're only going to get 370 horsepower. One big consideration that people have is what can I tow with a gas versus a diesel? And so that is a big consideration, but you have to think about how often are you towing what you're towing. I've got a 25-foot gooseneck trailer, 20+5 dovetail, and the max capacity on that trailer is 12,200 pounds. This truck that I have, my gas 6.4 Hemi, can pull 14.4. That's the towing capacity, depending on the package. Now, if you want to have different options and things like that, you can actually tow up to, I think it's a little over 15,000 pounds. But since my trailer only tows 12.2, I don't have to worry about that. 14.4 is plenty for me in the Bighorn trim package that I have. I also only pull my trailer once a month, twice a month, something like that, and I don't pull it for long distances. Now, if you're going to be pulling heavy loads often, then you probably should consider a diesel. The Cummins is rated just around 20,000 pounds, maybe a couple hundred pounds less, 19.8, somewhere around in there. So if you're pulling, like, if you know, hot shot trucking or a farmer that's going to pull a heavy payload every week, then maybe a diesel is a better option for you. But since I'm only going to use the truck to tow maybe once a month, twice a month, then I have a better option of just using the gas, because it still handles the capacity that I need it to tow, because I'm only towing 10,000 pounds or so. I'm not always towing a trailer. I might just be throwing stuff in the back of my truck. A gas truck is actually going to give you more payload. I can put about 4,000 pounds in this one, a tick over 4,000, maybe 4,100 pounds in the back of this truck. Whereas a diesel, I can only put 3,000 pounds in it. So it's 800 to 1,000 pounds less in a diesel. You know, diesel systems weigh more, diesel components weigh more. Everything associated with the diesel is bigger, heavier, beefier, reducing the payload capacity of your bed. A lot of capabilities that are different from gas to diesel, but let's talk about the pros and cons of each. The pros of a gas engine are gas stations sell gasoline. Every time you ride by a gas station or a filling station or a petrol station, you're going to be able to buy gasoline. You may not be able to purchase diesel, so that's something you have to consider. And one of the major things you have to consider is the cost. Not only the cost of the vehicle itself, diesels are way more expensive than gasoline trucks. The cost associated with owning a diesel is way more than owning a gasoline engine. You've got to think about how much does it cost per gallon, so gas is cheaper than diesel. Used to not be that way, right? Used to be where diesel's cheaper. You got to think about the cost of maintenance. You got to think about the cost of service. You got to think about the cost of the engine. I mean, a diesel truck's going to run $8,000 to $10,000 more than a gasoline truck. Another big pro for a gasoline engine is it doesn't have all this emission stuff that the diesels have, right? It doesn't have like DEF and DPF and EGRs and things like that. It doesn't have those emission systems associated with it, so you're going to have less maintenance on a gasoline engine. everything associated with a gasoline engine is not better than a diesel, right? So let's talk about some of the pros of owning a diesel. You can tow more. You have a better resale. Diesel trucks sell better than gas trucks in the used truck market. You also have better fuel mileage in a diesel. Diesels don't burn as much fuel going down the road. You can see that there's a lot of pros and cons when you're thinking about getting a gas versus diesel. Weigh all those things when you make your decision whether or not you're going to purchase a diesel or you're going to purchase a gas engine. Those things are very, very important. I hope this information helps you make a decision. I hope you make the right decision for you. Over this shoulder right here is a little white circle. Click on that to subscribe to our channel. You'll see a lot more of the Ram 2500 on our channel. And underneath it, you'll see the trailer hitch, the B&W trailer hitch that I installed. It's a really easy process. Go watch that video. You guys take care. God bless you guys.